Thank you, for being here today as we move forward with the taxi TLC licensed drivers and the role here. And this is a long fight. Where's my? How long it'll be?
26 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Long
fight.
I keep telling folks I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. You and I have been fighting for this for a long time with drivers in this city. I remember on the ground back when I probably was just leaving the police department when you were fighting on behalf of drivers. So you and NYC and this entire movement of fighting on behalf of drivers when it was just yellow cabs out. And she has been consistent in this journey. And so today is an important day for hire vehicles and for hire drivers, TLC licensed drivers. They're an essential part of our city. And sometimes we don't understand that they kept the city moving, not only during COVID, but during normal times. They fill in the gap in our transportation system as we continue to evolve as a transportation network, and they do the job. They do the job well. And so together with New York City Taxi Limousine Commission, today we are ensuring that minimum pay is increased to match the increase in the cost of everyday necessities. It's unfortunate that they deliver the Uber Eats. They deliver so many things and foods to people, and they cannot afford those same foods because of the pay that they are making. And so our goal is to send a clear message that this is about protecting the rights of New Yorkers and the workers and ensuring fair pay, something that we will continue to fight for in every industry in this city. These hardworking men and women didn't get their increase in 2021, but we want to make sure they get that increase now, and today that all changes, and that is why we're here today. And let's be clear, this is a victory for working people. It's sending the right message throughout the entire city that this administration is going to fight on behalf of working people and the advocates that have been fighting for so long. These drivers, 50 drivers behind me, and many more out there who are on the roads right now, they deserve to be paid their fair share, and we're going to make sure that fair pay for a day's work is something that is going to be the narrative in this administration. They're working New Yorkers, and many are immigrants. Throughout my campaigning and even throughout the years of over 20 years of advocating on behalf of these drivers, I would see them on the road, driving with them, riding with them, and really advocating for their safety. This is something that has been part of my life work of fighting on behalf of these drivers. High risk. It's a very risky business. We saw the number of drivers that were assaulted. Some lost their lives. We saw the impact on their stability throughout their careers. And they did something else that many people didn't realize. They delivered over 65 million meals during COVID, delivering it to people, placing themselves on the front line, move people to vaccines and testing sites, just really playing the infrastructure part of making sure this city continue to move. So we are happy to be here and showing our support for these drivers and make sure that they're receiving a day's pay for a day's work, but a fair day pay for a day's work on what they're doing. So I thank them. These are not strangers to me. These are friends. And to utilize my time in office to fight on behalf of those that I have fought with in the field. They'll tell you every day. One of us is the mayor of the city of New York, someone that has gone through a lot, and now he's going to be there for the people who are going through a lot. And so I thank them for being here, and I really thank you. Your years of friendship and fighting on behalf of these drivers. You were a lone voice for many years, but you never stopped. And thank you so much for your service. I want to turn it over to my amazing Deputy Mayor of Operation, Deputy Mayor Joshi.
Thank you very much, Mayor Adams. And I couldn't be prouder to be a member of your administration today as we see the strengthening of a fundamental protection that was enacted in 2018, 2019, at a time, and this is important, I don't think we should forget it, at a time when most app drivers, over 90%, were making less than minimum wage. That is changing, and drivers are making more, but we can't ever forget those days. Why it's important today that we're protecting the minimum pay standards by increasing them to reflect the cost of goods and services in society. Drivers are consumers just like everybody else, and when they pay more for goods and services, it has an effect on their earnings. And today's change reflects that. So I want to thank everybody who's part of this in the years in the making and coming to today, and really turn it over to those that lead the efforts. So first, let me introduce Commissioner Aloysi Heredia Jamas. Oh, everybody messes up your name, right? It's worse than mine. Come on and take the podium.
Love those boots.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Oh, wow. Well, good afternoon. I am Aloysi Heredia Jarmuschuk, Commissioner and Chair of the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission. I am very pleased to be here with Mayor Adams and Deputy Mayor Joshi and Baidavi Desai and Comptroller Lander and members of the Taxi Workers Alliance and IDG and our wonderful and amazing TLC licensed drivers. 3 years ago, in February of 2019, the TLC implemented the driver pay rule to ensure that high-volume for-hire service drivers received fair pay. The impact was immediate, and drivers earned 23% more on average after the rules were in place, representing an increase of almost $1 billion for the industry as a whole. Subsequent to a modest adjustment in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic caused dramatic decreases in both passenger demand for hire transportation and professional driver supply. In the face of this market volatility, the TLC focused on helping drivers that chose to work during the pandemic to deliver food through the New York City Get Food program, which paid TLC licensed drivers more than $40 million in wages to deliver food to New York City's neediest families. And we are so grateful to all the drivers for delivering those meals. As the mayor mentioned, 65 million meals citywide in a 9-month period. Really a Herculean effort. And our TLC licensed drivers are truly essential workers, and they always deserve recognition for all they do, and they have my unending support and respect. As the city continues to recover from the pandemic, the for-hire industry has seen growth in both passenger demand and driver supply. And today we are here once again, very pleased to raise the minimum pay for high volume for-hire driver services. This reflects the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers for the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania metro area, and will amount to a 5.3% increase in the minimum driver pay rate. TLC licensed drivers are an integral part of New York City, and our agency and the Commission are committed to ensuring that all drivers are fairly compensated for the essential work that they perform. And I look forward to working collectively with everyone to continue to support them. We know that each day they are working just in service of the city, and we want everyone, and especially our licensees, to know that we are here working to ensure ensure that each of you, every single driver, gets their due, every sector, every licensee. So thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Executive Director of New York Taxi Workers Alliance, Beta V. Desai.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're getting a raise. All right. Yes. Driver power. Driver power. This is a good day. So thank you so much, Mayor Adams. First initiative we worked on together was the Taxi Driver Protection Act. And was our first champion on that bill, actually. And, you know, to be standing here years later to be talking about economic justice for this workforce feels really fulfilling. So thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you to Deputy Mayor Joshi and to our TLC chairwoman, Aloysi Herrera-Jarmazuk. The Taxi Workers Alliance fought really hard in 2018 to win a to win a regulation that would give the TLC authority to regulate the minimum pay that the companies, Uber and Lyft, have to pay the drivers based on distance and time. Our wonderful controller, at the time, was our wonderful councilman, and Brad Lander championed that bill, and our deputy mayor was our wonderful TLC chairwoman at the time, who championed it at the agency. And as a result of that, over 90% of the drivers that had been earning below minimum wage were finally given a lift out of poverty wages. This was historic. This was historic because it was the first in this entire country, possibly the first across the globe, right? Yes, and some of you will remember that was a really painful year for us. That was 2018. That was the year when the driver suicides, it was so many suicides happened that particular year. They started at the end of 2017, and in 2018 we spent most of our days, attending services for many of the brothers that we had lost. That year, we were on the streets for over 6 months straight, almost 30 protests back to back. We fought for a cap on the number of vehicles because we needed that in order to stabilize this industry, and we needed the pay for drivers to go up. And so when we won that raise, it was historic, and I think today it's even more meaningful because as part of the raise that we won, the regulation requires that every January the Taxi and Limousine Commission must look at changes in the Consumer Price Index and accordingly adjust the pay that drivers are earning. And so that did not happen, after COVID. And so we had written a legal notice to the TLC, and we're thankful to the chairwoman, and we're especially thankful to our mayor for acting so swiftly. Our letter had gone out on the 18th of January, and here we are today feeling the success of that action, knowing, yes, that our members, who are absolutely essential, put their lives on the line throughout COVID, as so many other essential workers have done. But they've done it without the safety nets that many other employees have in our economy. But today we get to say that their pay is going to be increased based on the rise in inflation, which at this point, it's a 5.3% increase, which is due to thousands of Uber and Lyft and Via drivers across New York City. And that means on average for a full-time driver, they're going to be earning about $3,800 more this year than they have in the past. And that's significant, because every single dollar counts. You know, Mayor Adams, when we were getting ready for this event, I have to tell you all, the group of members I was really thinking about were our brothers and sisters who live particularly in the Bronx, and in the building that had such a tragic fire at the beginning of our year. We actually had a lot of our members who were in that building. And you know, the level of insecurity and the indignities of poverty that too many of our people face every single day, it starts and it ends with what you get from that paycheck. For taxi drivers who have no guaranteed income, this is a historic moment to say that not only are we guaranteeing that drivers have a livable wage and a step out of poverty, but we're actually saying that that raise must happen in line with an increase in inflation, which is a national issue. We can lead with this decision, because even other workers under labor law still don't have that protection. So this is something that we can lead with, not only with, you know, rest of the drivers across this industry, but other workers across this city and across this state. And so as the Taxi Workers Alliance, most of you know us as being on the streets fighting for debt forgiveness for our owner-driver members. We are the union of drivers across this industry, no matter what they are driving. Just as we won historically for our owner-driver members on our debt forgiveness fight, today we stand strong and proud to know that we have won a raise, 5.3% increase for Uber and Lyft and Via drivers across the city of New York, and it is just the beginning. Thank you so much.
You know, I wanted to specifically introduce the controller. You know, the amount of fights that he has done for everyday workers. We were together when we had one of our fast food workers was killed while delivering food. This is just an issue that he has been on the ground over and over again. You know, we do so many press conferences when we finally come to a resolution on these issues. It's because Brad has planted the seeds, and throughout the years, we have stood side by side for so many years. This didn't start when he became a controller, his advocacy as a council person, and even before that. And so I just want to thank him for being here today, and you know, just seeing you throughout the years fighting on the behalf of these everyday workers. And I'm sure it brings you great joy as you continue to see the years and years of your labor. So, Controller Brad Lander. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I know sometimes our friends in the media focus on the places where elected officials don't always agree, and of course there are some of those times, but boy, on this, on the idea that working people in New York City deserve a city government that is on their side, that is listening to their problems, finding innovative ways to show up with new public policy, implementing that policy effectively so that folks could live decently in this expensive, beautiful, diverse city. That is a place where there is no daylight, and I'm really proud to be here today with you and this remarkable group. I am New York City Controller Brad Lander, but today I remain the proud sponsor of Local Law 150 of 2018, which established the framework under which, in close partnership with the TLC, a minimum pay standard is guaranteed for for-hire drivers. And you've heard a couple of things, but I just want to underline a few features of why this law has turned out to be so strong and effective. Because at the time, you will remember that we were told the sky would fall. Uber and Lyft guaranteed that the whole for-hire vehicle industry would evaporate if we did not honor their right to sweat their contingent labor exactly as they decided they needed to. But it is clear now, 4 years later, first of all, the sky has not fallen. You could take out your app right now, and you could feel a lot better about it because your driver is not being sweated. Your driver earns a minimum pay standard updated annually for inflation, and yet you can still get your ride. We showed that the gig economy can meet the needs of customers while also decently paying the workers who do that work. So, and look, that came from remarkable organizing. Actually, let me come back to that part. Let me finish underlining what's so good about this law before I give the credit for it. So, step one, as you heard, it very quickly took a set of people who were earning far below minimum wage up to earning at least that $15 an hour, and now more over time after their expenses. The sky did not fall. The industry has continued to be able to deliver for consumers. It has set a great precedent. You know, Mr. Mayor, you were talking about that deliverista that we were together morning in East Harlem. The minimum pay approach that New York City has now paved the way for, and that we're working to establish the rules for, that will go into effect at the beginning of next year for our delivery workers, comes directly from the framework that was established here. So this isn't stopping with for-hire driving, because it's moving on to deliveristas, and we're going to continue to push forward for that change. And then I really want to underline what Bedevi said about this annual approach to taking a look at cost, which unfortunately we foolishly very rarely build in to our minimum wage laws when they increase, or our living wage laws when they increase. But look, when inflation rises, who suffers the most? Of course it is low-wage workers. They are the ones, even if you're not driving a vehicle, who are most going to be hit by rising energy costs, by rising costs of housing and living. But boy, if you're driving, you're getting it on both sides, because the cost of operating your business is going up, and the cost of living for you after what you take home is going up. But if you are not getting paid more by Uber and Lyft because they're taking the increase in inflation but not passing it on to drivers, which, let's be clear, you know is exactly what they will do if they are not required to do otherwise by this standard, then the pay that we got raised gets eroded. And so the fact there is this annual review is a really powerful piece of legislation. It is going to be time to look at the minimum wage in the coming days, to look at the living wage. Inflation erodes cost of living, especially for low-wage workers, and this is a reminder that we have ways to show up for them. And I feel really proud of that. This was a hard-fought battle, and credit goes to the drivers who did the organizing work to build the power to win a law that couldn't just show up for them once, but now shows up over time. It took courage at the time at the Taxi and Limousine Commission when then TLC Chair Joshi was there. It is great to have awesome new leaders, not even that new, but continuing leadership from Aloysi at TLC. I do also want to shout out Bill Heinzen, who you had the good wisdom to keep on as special counsel to your general counsel, but who at the time was general counsel at TLC and did a lot of work with us to make this law. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the TLC. Thank you, and congratulations especially to the drivers.
Okay, we have another special guest. We see eye to eye, and that is representing the IDG, Michelle Doughton. Please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Doughton. I'm a FHV driver, first and foremost. Second, I am an organizer fighting for the rights of FHV drivers, no matter what color your vehicle is. I am so honored here today to see a former commissioner of TLC who actually, along with IDG, we sat for hours, you know, just negotiating what fairness will be when it comes to pay, what drivers could and could not lose if there wasn't a cap put on the app companies for their income and how much they take from drivers, and to secure drivers' earnings. We sat. We painfully had Mayor Joshi sit till 7 o'clock one night, till every driver of every language told their painful story of why they needed the fair pay increase. And thank God she listened. Thank God Fred Landers sat with us, stood there with us, worked with us. We were a new organization. We're not 26 years in the making, but we are driver-led. And these drivers that took their time to come off the road to fight, to let them know the pains they were going through just to get fair pay. And today, standing here representing all those FHV drivers, let me not forget, thank you to our current commissioner, Haridia Jerison. I always mess up your name, I'm so sorry, but that's okay. When we hit the pandemic, she called on us, and our FHV drivers, they didn't worry about their life. They didn't worry that, they have families at home that they need to go back to. What they worried about was to continue helping move New York City, to bring food to the table, to make sure that the people in most needed had it. And along with the Black Car Fund, we were able to partner with them, stand and give out PPEs to make sure that those drivers had extra protection, to make sure that we continue to move New York City. Because let me be told, we are essential workers. And we now are asking also to be considered to have a fair union, to be a real union, to fight even harder for these FHV drivers. There are over 200,000 drivers, and let's not put together the delivery workers. We all need to think about their families and the sacrifices they make to make sure the food gets to your door, to make sure that you get home safe, no matter what the weather is outside. So I want to thank our TLC commissioner. I want to thank our new mayor now, because guess what? We're on your doorstep. We're waiting for you, and we're not going to let go. We ask everyone to understand that it's not an easy job transporting people or riders or even delivering food. It is an honorable job, and we feed a lot of families, and we take care of a lot of people. So we ask today for you to also join in us for our fight to be a real union. And we thank TLC for continuously working with us to improve all of the drivers' lives and delivery workers as well. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Hi, the taxi driver rate, that's not being raised as part of this, is it? And if not, why not?
Taxi drivers rate. Taxi driver.
For yellow taxi?
Stay in our lanes.
So the taxi rate for drivers varies depending on what sector they drive for. So yellow taxi drivers have a different standard, a different pay standard, and so we'll be looking at the comprehensive work that needs to happen on that end separately. But today this is about our high volume for hire drivers.
Is your sense that for higher volume drivers are getting paid substantially less than taxi drivers, or what's kind of the thinking about doing this as a separate process?
It's not that we're thinking about doing it as a separate process, it's that there are different rules and it's a different sector. And I don't want to spend time pitting anyone against them. Today is a really important day for all the hard work that everybody's done and all the hard work that our drivers do. And it's something that we should be celebrating. And we will be working comprehensively, nonstop, to ensure that all our licensees are treated fairly and have a fair wage. Thank you.
Someone in the back there. Yep.
I want to know. I'm sorry, brother. Are you pressed or do you just have a question? I'm sorry?
Just have a question.
I'm sorry?
I just have a question.
No, so sit tight. Let's finish with the press. When we break, you can ask the question to anybody else here.
What does this mean for fares for riders, this raise? Will fares be going up for hire vehicles as a result of this?
So we won't speak for how the private companies are going to run, but we will hold them accountable to make sure that they are treating everyone fairly, not just our drivers, but also passengers.
And I'll just remind what happened after the law was passed, because there was a lot of concern here. And what we actually saw after the law was passed was that the apps paid more attention to connecting a driver at the end of one trip more quickly to the beginning of the next, because the law quite creatively incentivizes the companies to maximize the amount of times that the drivers are earning a fare, because they've got to pay them so that in the hour they earn enough to cover expenses. And so what we saw pretty quickly was some changes that didn't leave empty time. You know, they had previously had incentives to have so many drivers on the road that someone would be there in 1 minute, but lots of them were waiting without passengers. And that adjusted when the law passed, and I think that's a big part of why the evidence we have so far says that it was possible to raise driver pay without a significant impact on customers.
Any other on-topic questions? Oh, yeah, sure.
Could you tell me how many drivers this impacts?
Yeah, you're popular today.
Not as popular as you. There are approximately 90,000 high-volume for-hire drivers, so we're roughly 100,000 people will be affected by this. So this is a wonderful thing that we're doing today.
Cash back in the pockets.
Nothing else? Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, we're gonna do a few off topic. Okay, guys, you could depart. You know, they like to have me by themselves.
Okay. Thank you.
Drive my power! Union power! Drive my power! Drive my power! Drive my power! Each way my rallies. We'll take a couple of off topic. All right, brother. Good to see you, man.
Can I take a picture?
Yes, you can.
It's a long time, my brother.
Flip it over.
Come,
Come on, get in. Come on, these are my voters. These are my voters, man. Everybody could wait.
That's my brother.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, brothers. Thank you.
See you again.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Good to see you.
We gotta go. Sir, we gotta go.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take a couple of off topics.
He was the second male rapper in New York City to be murdered so far this month. We've been hearing from pure violence organizations. They're concerned that the tone of this music, rapping about murders, the retaliation that's fueling some of the gun violence. Just wanted to know, what are your thoughts on drill rap, and what, if anything, can be done about it by the city, by the NYPD?
You know, I'm so glad you asked that question. And I had no idea what drill rapping was, but I called my son, and he sent me some videos, and it is alarming. And we are going to pull together the social media companies and sit down with them and state that you have a civic and corporate responsibility. You know, I mean, we pulled Trump off Twitter because of what he was spewing. Yet we are allowing music, displaying of guns, violence. We're allowing it to stay on these sites because look at the victims. We're bringing them in. We're going to show exactly what is being displayed, and we are alarmed by it. We are alarmed by the use of social media to really over-proliferate this violence in communities. And I think your question is dead on, and that's the question we're going to ask these companies. We're going to ask them for good corporate responsibility. This is contributing to the violence that we're seeing all over this country. It is one of those rivers that we have to dam.
Is there a message you have specifically for drill rappers?
You know, when you look at many of these young people, they're coming from communities that they believe that this is the only pathway for their success. Part of what we're doing with the crisis management team, and I am meeting with some of the top known rappers. We have a meeting set up where we're going to sit down and really bring in the rappers and show how this is impacting and is causing the loss of lives of young people like them. So we're looking at every area, and there's some very top-known rappers that are going to participate in this. Once we have the meeting, we're going to display the coalition of rappers that are looking at this. They see what this drill rapping is doing. And once we bring them together, I don't want to do it prematurely to announce their names, but we're going to roll out the entire campaign that we're looking at, that they are a part of.
Mr. Mayor, I get a question on that as well. And I know you were asked this yesterday, but I wanted to see if there's an update. Jaquan McKinley's father said that you were basically talking about his life for political gain, that you were inventing details of his life. And he said he reached out to you, left a couple of messages directly and a text. Have you responded to him? And what do you have to say to him? I mean, he's clearly upset. His son died. I mean,
yeah, no, this is painful to go through this experience. Imagine, I cannot imagine if I were to lose my baby, my son. It's a painful moment. We spoke after someone from the Daily News questioned me on this. We spoke again today. We're going to speak again tonight. And what I believe the outcome of this is that he and I are going to be partners to stop seeing our young men become victims of this level of violence, and ladies, and to go after those things that was just mentioned, the drill rapping, the overproliferation of guns. I believe that he's going to be a symbol of the dads all over this country that are concerned about their families, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation.
how did the conversation go, Mr. Mayor?
Went well.
Thanks.
Thank you.